he went on to become a very good professional player in Germany. We had Nduka Ogbade was the defensive midfielder. And we had...
the captain.
Yes, and captain. And we had a player called Kingsley Ahiombare. He was the rock of Gibraltar of that team. You could not go past... you could not go past Kingsley Ahiombare. Once you went past him, you were sure of scoring a goal against Nigeria. Kingsley, you always wore this bandana. He made that popular. I've not seen a Nigerian player, you know, with a consistency, wearing that bandana for every game. Every game. You know, those ones are later days small boys. Now, we also had Babatunde Joseph, the master dribbler. He would come from the right wing. He would take on the opponent, so much confidence, would take on the opponents and score. We had Lucky Agbonsebafe, the hero of our semi-final game against Guinea. We know we could have lost even at the semi-final stage, but that's why I feared the African team. I always say when we meet the African teams, they always give us problems. So, but Lucky Agbonsebafe was able to save us. We had also Victor Igbinoba, who scored the second goal against Germany in that final from a wicked counter-attack. The Germans, you know, the Germans had, in my view, the best player of that tournament, Norman Wittesek. And Norman was terrorizing the Nigerian team. We had one player expelled. So we were playing with 10 men. Everybody thought they would equalize because they pinned us to our half. And then there was this punt, a long ball, which Victor Igbinoba pursued and unleashed a wicked volley with the left foot. Naturally, there were comparisons between football followers compared Victor Igbinoba with Henry Nwosu because Henry Nwosu liked to dribble with the right foot and he would put the ball on the left and release a scorching shot. That was the same way Victor Igbinoba was playing. And he got that second goal. When he got that second goal, the Germans burst into tears because they thought that they would be able to do equalize, you know. Even the players who did not make the first team, that team was so good that players like Hilary Adiki, Bodwin Bazwaye, Imama Amakpabo, who did not make the first team, they went on to become great players. Today,
is that the same goalkeeper, Godwin Bazwaye?
Bodwin Bazwaye, the son of Willie Bazwaye, coach of New Nigerian Bank at that time. You know, he was a left winger. You know, he played for Bender Insurance from the left. Hilary Adiki was a central midfielder, very strong. You know, Bender State had the largest number of players in that team. And at Kwara 85, the All Nigerian School Sports Festival, Kwara 85, Bender State won the football event, parading the players that were heroes of the Nigerian Under-17 team. With Victor Igbinoba, you know, leading them, they won the competition in Kwara, Kwara 85. So we had many good players in that. Sani Adamu of this George team, I think Mighty Jets, was the playmaker. Stood right there in the middle. And don't forget Fatai Atere. Fatai Atere, who had this, there's a street named after him, I think in Mushin or somewhere. You know, Fatai Atere, you see, he was also one of the midfielders. Ubade was the defensive midfielder, and then he had the likes of Atere
Jide,
with him.
Let's quickly get a reaction from Coach Fani Amu. Fani Amu was the 1993 hero, the coach of the 1993 under-17 set. So let's listen to what Fani Amu will say.
The trophy coming to Nigeria is not a surprise, considering the will of the respective players, the exceptional attitude in them, and the call by Mr. President to give them that confidence. I think the most important thing is how many of these players can play in the World Cup finals of the Super Eagles in 7 years' time. The issue of coming a lot of these countries, you might see they're not winning the youth championship, but they eventually win the World Cup, like Brazil and Argentina and other countries. So for me, the most important thing is for them to translate to replace the aging national team players and play in the senior national team in 6-7 years' time.
All right, that's Fani Amu, the hero of 1993. Juliet Mafua, let me ask, 1993, we also, Jide spoke extensively about 1985. 1993, we also had guys that did us proud that particular year.
The likes of Nwankwo Kanu.
Yes, that was
brother Emmanuel
Bayero,
the goalkeeper.
Those were the guys that made the Super Eagles stick, later in their life.
Mobi Okparaku, the right fullback.
Yeah.
For me, I think that's one on the 17 squad. We saw a lot of the players, going as far as getting into the Super Eagles and maintaining, that longevity for a long while. At least we saw Nwankwo Kanu stay on for a very long while.
Yes.
So that just shows that
we can discovered the future of Nigerian football from 1993
We can actually
squad.
build on this winning, teams, if only we at least set those things in place for continuity.
And again, which is why I was talking about philosophy.
Cyril, I want you to talk about that 1993 squad.
I'm very particular because you see, the nucleus of what came to be known as the golden era of Nigerian football came from that squad. Except for the addition of the likes of Sunday Olise and co. That 93 squad, essentially gave us the kernel, the nucleus, and really, the pillar, the future of Nigerian football. We got to 94, we won the Nations Cup. We got to 95, then we got to 96, we won the
Atlanta Olympics.
But for political reasons, we couldn't go to South Africa for the nation. Otherwise, we would have won.
But the Nations Cup, we didn't win because of those boys.
The year because a player like
Nwankwo
Kanu wasn't.
Even Kanu was not in the 1940s.
No, but what I'm saying is that eventually, yes, and there was a steady graduation and graduation going forward, because they got to the Olympic Games. By the time the likes of Uche Okechukwu and the rest had played in the 94 year, they were there's the future. Then 98 came. I think CAF suspended us or so. But that was the era. And anybody who is making reference to Nigerian football today knows that if you go back to that squad, you could name us from the goalkeeper, from Peter Rufai to Rashidi Yekini. But today, that is still lacking. That's why I'm saying that if we have a team that has come from relative obscurity. We won this same tournament in 2007. Where are those boys today? The Yemita last call, where are they today? They are not before. You can see youth in them. They are young, they are agile, they are flexible.
Was this guy in Chelsea there?
Chris Santos.
This guy in Chelsea?
Mikel. No, Mikel wasn't with the
Mikel was 1995. I mean 2005.
2000. That was under
20.
20.
And that was under 20. But my joy is this: they are cohesive. They are playing to pattern. You can see that, like I said, of the 23 goals that they scored, more than half of them came through the wings. So there's already something being established. I would like to see a situation whereby, the coach and the NFF, can begin to say, okay, I think this team can also give us something to look out for in the future and look for ways of grooming them. Look,
what bothers me.
Sorry, Jake, the problem of Nigerian football will be solved using Nigerian material. The issue of going overseas may be temporary, but you see, going to get players who have gone overseas and all that may give us temporary relief, but the real solution to Nigerian problems will be solved using Nigerian material. Julia, let me just conclude with this point. In 1989 or 91, when Westerhoff came and took over the team, from what we understand, he had very close ties with the vice president then, Augustus Ekomo. But it took about 5 years to build a team that won the Nations Cup. In that period, you had the likes of Finidi George, Augustine Eguavon, Benedict Iroha, Emmanuel Amunike, who eventually went to play for Barcelona. All of them are drawn from the local league from Nigeria. And for what I know, most of those players were not playing the wings he got them to play. But they were mostly midfielders. But when they brought them, he converted Eguavon to right full back. He was converted. And that was why you had a player like Iroha, who was so athletic and he could go up to, to be scoring goals. He will go up and score goals. So we need that philosophy back. This team, I think, with little thinking.
And it was replaced by Celestine Babayaro later.
Of course. And then later we had Define Denzel, all of them very strong, robust, and they are playing for very good clubs, even in Europe. So I think we have the future here. If we can understand that they already have the nucleus and style of play, all we need to do is just a little thinking. In another 5 times, Nigeria can boast of going to the World Cup and giving them a thorough fight for their money.
We have the future. Each time the team gets to win, this is what we talk about. We have the future. 2013 came, we have the future. I mean, we've been going on and on about having the future. That is the point. What is it we are not getting right? Now, this whole thing also starts from the NFF themselves, because I remember Manu Gaba winning this particular tournament and then getting to under 20, and a so-called NFF member imposed about 5 of his players on the 20 team, And that is why we found the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho, Yahaya sitting on the bench for most part of the tournament. Now, these are the same guys who turn out to also destroy something that has been built by a coach. And now they're saying Emmanuel Amunike will not progress from the under-17. He has to still stick with the under-17 team. Why shouldn't he progress with the under-20? If you are using examples like John Obu failing when he went to the under-20 level, as examples of Manu Gaba failing when he went to under-20 level, I don't think those are perfect situations to say Emmanuel Amunike should not progress with this team. Okay, so what it means is he starts to build another round of under-17 team, and another coach takes over this crop of players that have been built by Amunike. So where's the continuity we're talking about?
Jide, somebody is tweeting, the tweets we have currently here is talking about Britain and Germany actually, building teams that will graduate from the age group on and on like that.
That's what the Spaniards did. You see that Spanish players, especially those of the Barcelona stock, they were discovered very young.
Fabregas,
as early as
Xavi,
12, 13,
Iniesta.
and they retained that team. They retained the crop of players.
They got
you see, sometimes, Ayo, it's not, Spain won the under-20 trophy here in Nigeria in 1999. I watched them. Only very few of those players, very few of those Spanish players made it big. They were world champions. Emphatically, they won the trophy here, beating Japan 3-0. I watched it live at the National Stadium.
So it doesn't work that way?
It doesn't always work. The person who later became perhaps Spain's greatest goalkeeper of all time, Casillas was a reserve keeper in that 1999 team. He was a reserve keeper. He wasn't a first choice player.
Was it okay?
So
Zubi Zareta is not in that set.
No. Okay. Zubi Zareta even retired after 1998 or so.
No, I think Sunday Olise retired.
Yes, Olise retired. With that long range shot. Olise and Montio Adepoju.
The power drive the shot.
It's not all the time, because the progression that you are looking for, the best of it will be represented by finding players in the under-20 team. But it doesn't always work like that, because new players will come on the scene. And when new players come on the scene, you are tempted to go for those ones. Let me give the example. Look at this Martial, the Manchester United striker now.
Okay.
Anthony Martial. A few years back, nobody knew him. He's just 19. So you will be looking, when you are looking for, you want to talk about great junior players, you are looking at Simama Pongo, the French player who was exceptional at the Under-17 World Cup. Where did he play for his national team? The answer is no. He even came to Liverpool and didn't really do well. Liverpool had to offload him. So this is
he just picked up.
You see, the reality is,
I understand what you're saying.
The reality is, players must be well managed. Sometimes the club that you join determine whether you become successful as a professional footballer.
Yeah.
The Nigerian team, under-17 team of 1989, under-17 team of 1989, didn't win the trophy. We lost in the final by penalties to Saudi Arabia. But we had great players in that team. Godwin Okpara, who later played professional football in France and played for the national team as well. We had Victor Ikpeba in that team. Fantastic dribbler. Ikpeba went on to play for Monaco and became African Footballer of the Year. In fact, at a point, he was always selected ahead of Johan Klinsmann, because he was the strike partner of Johan Klinsmann in the Monaco team, coached by Wenger, the coach of Arsenal now. He was usually picked ahead of Johan Klinsmann, the German international. So Victor Ikpeba was very successful, even though the team didn't win. But we had great players in that team who went on to become something big. But it doesn't always happen. Then Victor Ikpeba came to the Nigerian national team. only for him to be unseated by Emmanuel Amuneke that we discovered at the All-African Games. All-African Games. That was where West